Put a log on. Hello everyone, welcome back. It has been a hot second for reasons that will become clear, but I am so delighted to be back for a very festive episode of Someone Else's Story. Joining me today I have my very good friend and colleague Harveen Mann, who will be telling us a little bit more about the experiences of tour life. Harveen Mann in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We're festive, we've got a fire, chestnuts are all staying on an open fire. Harveen, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Let's do this. So, dear watchers, I'm currently on tour with this lovely lady, hence me being missing for a few months, because she's distracting.
I have been very distracting.
Harvey, you've had a delightfully long career, but for someone so young, she's only 21, ladies and gents. Tell us, what do you do? Where you been?
So, yes, I have been in the industry what feels like 40 years, but is actually probably about 17. And all in sort of musical theatre, television, international tours, UK tours, and bits of regional theatre, and that's what brought me to you, wasn't it? How exciting!
We met doing School of Rock in South Korea 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Which has flown by. Thank you, COVID and pandemics. And now we are on tour around the UK together.
We're having lots of fun, aren't we?
Having the best time. So Harvey, for anyone that's watching that knows absolutely nothing about tour, about what we do, what do we do?
So, what we do is pretend to be other people, and we do this around the country, don't we? We are in sort of weekly touring mode where we're city to city, and we spend, 6 days at each place?
I want to say sometimes, no, it's always 6. It is always 6.
Yeah,
sometimes 7.
Sometimes 7, and then the other day is either a travel day, oh God, or a time where you can be at home and then travel the next day. So it's lovely.
So we're doing a UK tour at the moment. There are international tours which take you off to random glorious places. Korea for us. South Africa has some amazing tours going around. China gets a lot of tours.
China's got their theatre scene is huge, isn't it? They love musical theatre in China.
And I never really understand the science about where they get casts from. So like Korea for us, the adults were mainly Brits, with a couple of Americans thrown in for good measure, and then our kids were Australian, and our crew were mainly Korean, with again some Australians. It's great, guys. Variety is the spice of life.
And you know how lovely, because how often do you get the chance to work with people from all over the world?
Yeah.
You know, unless you're doing a job like that. So
exactly.
It's exciting.
Absolutely. Oh, I love this request. This kind of leads in beautifully to the main bulk of what this episode is about, which is more about the nitty-gritty intricacies of tour life and what that looks like. Let's start. What are the things you love about touring? What are the experiences that you've had that just wouldn't have come about with any other job? Like,
Sure, I think, Sam, for me, it's about going to new places, but also, funnily enough, reconnecting with people in those places. That's been the most special thing for me on this job, is that, or any tour, that you go to cities that you haven't seen people in for so many years. I've reconnected with some of my university friends. I left university 17 years ago.
No, she didn't. She on camera,
and I've had so many messages from people saying, "Oh, you're in Manchester, you're in Leeds. Can we catch up?" And I have done, and in certain places, and that is fabulous, because you just wouldn't do it. You don't get a chance to do that in your normal life, you know, when you're doing any other job. So to be able to reconnect with people and start friendships up again is gorgeous. There's something quite comforting about that when you're working away.
Yeah.
And you already feel like your life is your life at home is far away.
Yeah.
But then you've connected with somebody who, it sounds a bit cheesy, but feels like home a bit,
No, 100%. Speaking of home, we went to your hometown.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking on like on plus points. That must have been awesome.
Oh, actually, Sam, that was one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah.
I had never done my hometown. In all the years of performing, I'd never done the Grand Theatre in Wolverhampton. A little shout out to them. And they made me feel so special and loved, and it was fab. But actually, taking you guys, I felt like I was the Wolverhampton host for the week.
You were, 100%. And what a host.
Well, thank you. Taking you to places that I kind of feel are mine, you know,
Yeah.
and taking a show that I love to a place that I love was really magical. I won't forget it ever.
Touching on like kind of reconnecting with friends.
Yeah.
It's also, particularly with people, you know, we've known each other for a few years now,
Yeah.
to see your family, to meet your family, to have samosas in your back garden after a show
Yes.
or last thing on a Saturday, like that's really cool. You kind of get to see people's stories. That
Yeah.
sounds really cheesy.
No, that's absolutely right. And I think being able to see you were seeing me in my sort of raw state.
With your fam.
Yeah, with my fam, in my natural habitat.
With your dad telling you off for whatever
Definitely,
you're wearing.
yeah. No, all of the above. And that isn't that great? You
Yeah.
know, because if you worked in an office or, you know, had a job that wasn't so sort of exposing at times, you wouldn't have that life. You wouldn't have had those experiences. So that was the best night of tour for me when you all came and had a party in my back garden. Sorry, neighbours.
So much fun. So worth it. Neighbours, I don't care. I
No,
had a great
sorry.
time. Deal with it. Are there any? I mean, we never know. I mean, your career would be a thing. You know, we never know the jobs that are going to come up. Is there either somewhere that you'd love to go on tour, or you know, is there, if you could create a tour job, like, is there anything you're kind of like, this would be very cool?
Yeah. Do you know what? I would love to do a European tour.
Yeah.
I've been really lucky, Sam, to sort of travel around all of Europe actually in my life, but I've only worked in France. I haven't worked in any other European cities.
Was that performing work?
That was performing work. I had my own cabaret. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you do it in French or in English?
I did it in English.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was great. I had the time of my life, but you know, that was only one place. Whereas I'd love to do something that took me from country to country in a couple of weeks. I just feel like it would be something that would be beneficial to my career, but also like to me as a person. You know?
Which countries would you want to go?
Ooh, I'd love to do like the Scandinavian countries.
Nice.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to tour around Italy. I'd like to do that. Where else? I mean, I'll take anything really around there.
Just take me around Europe, mate.
Please.
Have a lovely time.
Yeah.
We love touring. We're on a tour. I don't want to use bad points. It's all about balance, ladies and gents. What for you are the parts about tour that you struggle with? And obviously, I kind of think, depending on the tour you're doing, depends on the different issues that may come up. Korea, we were away solidly for 5 months. In the UK, we kind of ping pong away around the country. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you hit your home base again. Sometimes you're gone for a few weeks on end. What are the things that you struggle with?
I think mainly, Sam, I struggle with like having one day to turn everything around often. By the time you've sort of got home, put your washing on, let it dry, and then repacked again. It just, the time goes so quickly. Especially if you're far from London, if you're far from your base. So I think I'm getting much better at it, and I've sort of got into a little bit of a routine of exactly what to do when I get in.
Nice, yes.
But as you know, I don't travel light.
I'm being prepared for every eventuality.
Everything. So,
And we'll hit the shops in whatever city we're in.
Shops, my biggest downfall. But I think another thing is just sort of getting your head into a different space when you're on that travel day. I sort of feel like all week when we're working, I'm a high-functioning adult. I can do life. But on that one day, sometimes I just fall apart in my head. It's like I forget logic. Where do I go? Oh, I've got to get my ticket. Oh, and then it's like the shift of like logic and of common sense gets lost.
I remember we had a train journey. I can't remember if you were there. There's a group of us that definitely had a train journey only a
We
few
did.
weeks ago, but we were just like, just calm,
Well,
just calm.
that was
stop
it was a
doing
very
things.
long journey. A few of us were on it together.
I can't remember where we were from. This is the other thing. All cities do merge into one to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
they
You're a bit
do.
like,
I don't know
where was
what
I? I want to say it was Sunderland.
I think it might have been Sunderland. Yeah, because it was far.
Sunderland down. We were all just like, how do we function? Also, travelling on a Sunday should never be a thing. Like,
No, we can never all sit together.
everyone sit together. Less trains.
Yes,
Sometimes
exactly.
there's engineering work.
Yeah. But I have to say, when you do have a long journey, sometimes it is good just to like say, have that moment to be like, okay, I'm going to listen to a podcast, or I'm going to read a book, or just completely switch off, because you do need that headspace day.
Yeah.
A bit of self-care, and you know. So,
yeah, a bit of emo, absolutely. So that's the practicalities of it. Obviously, there's an emotional level to touring as well. Describe that. Describe how you find Korea.
Yeah.
Versus, not versus, kind of like against how you're finding the UK tour, and then how do you balance it all? What are the emotional?
Yeah, I do know. Someone get asked this a lot, because I think people find it that aren't in the theatre world find it crazy what we do, that we just take off and you're there for a week and then you have a day to come back home and do things. And I think it does take an emotional toll.
Yeah.
In the sense that you are stop-start. You're at home, you're chilled, you're in home life.
Yeah.
And then the next day is off for a week. And you miss home, you miss your family, you miss your home routine. I think it was actually easier in Korea because we were there solidly.
Yeah.
You sort of were committed to that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, we missed home, and we missed our family and friends, and home comforts, things like that. Watching Coronation Street for me.
Loved it.
I love it. But it was like a shift, whereas now it's back and forth, and it's also, I find, trickier because I am a swing and I'm an off-stage swing. So you guys have got the distraction of doing the show every night.
Yeah.
Whereas actually I don't, and that can have its advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
And advantages are that I can get ready for the night out very quickly.
The tax returns are done and filed.
No, they're not. But I can get things done in that time.
They will be done.
But it did next week. But there's things like a lot of thinking time.
Yeah.
And sometimes little distractions. So I'll come and annoy you guys and
we love it.
chatting, and I'll see you. But I have a lot more time on my hands in that performance time than you would.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be difficult because it means that you do miss people. It means you sort of can overthink things.
Yeah.
And think, okay, what should I be doing? And actually, for me, it's sometimes guilt that I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I sort of fight that quite a lot because, as you know, I'm such a productive person.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't want to be, and I don't have the motivation to be. And I can spend a whole show where I've gone, what have I done today?
Yeah.
I don't know. I read a magazine. I've been on Instagram. But have I actually achieved anything? And I remember one of our cast members saying to me, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You're doing your job, you're ready to go on. But I battle a bit of that, where I feel like I haven't achieved in a day, so then what? And then sometimes I'll make up for it in the morning, and then it's the next day.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of battle of that sometimes.
Harvey, thank you so much for coming and chatting on my little YouTube channel, a little makeshift winter wonderland.
It's just beautiful. I'm in a Christmas spirit now,
There you
Sam.
go.
Thank
We'll stay
you.
here all afternoon, drink my wine, we'll have a great time. To round up, 3 bullet point kind of questions. What is the biggest lesson you've learned from your time touring? What is your piece of advice to anyone who is embarking on a tour or contemplating whether to take a tour job? And what are you most looking forward to, apart from spending more time with me, on the remainder of our tour together?
Lovely. So I think, firstly, what was the first one?
The first one was what's the biggest lesson you've learned?
Biggest lesson. So the biggest lesson learned for me is do your research before you go somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, because otherwise you end up in a place you don't want to stay in, which is just the worst.
Yeah.
And actually, I haven't had that on this tour, but when I toured when I was younger, I had a lot of that.
Right.
But then we have access to a lot more information now than we did then. And Airbnb exists, and
just made it sound like you were born before the
internet.
I know. We didn't have the internet back in the day when she was younger.
But yeah, I think doing research, finding out what there is to do in each city before you go, and actually knowing how, this is massive for me, how far away you're staying from the theatre.
Yeah.
Because at night, if your show closes late, like ours does, if it closes at 10:15, by the time you come out, it's 10:30. You don't want to be walking home too far when you don't feel safe.
No, I'd say routes as well. Routes are quite important. There was one time where I was about a 20-minute walk away from the theatre, and I quite liked that. I quite enjoyed the decompression time. However, the 20-minute route was like, go through this park that's not well lit at night time. I was like,
because obviously you just do what Maps tells you to do, but then the next day you just know to stay away.
Yeah.
But that's the toughest thing, I think. I'm sure you agree that you just have to feel safe, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And like being sensible, like sticking to main roads, using reputable cab companies if you are using a cab. No, I feel that. Okay, next one was, what is your advice to anyone who is contemplating a tour job or maybe offered a tour job?
Sure. So, my advice to people who have been offered a touring job, would be, if you first of all decide if it is for you, because it's a big commitment, especially if it's like how ours is a year away from your home life, because it's huge. It's a huge commitment to be able to say, I'm leaving my life, my normal life, to go off and do a year away. And I think you have to look at what your situation is. I think also looking financially, if you'd be at an advantage by doing it. And it's all well and good saying, we love what we do and let's get paid, I'll get paid for it, it doesn't matter how much, but we've got to live, So sort of weighing that up is really important. I would also say, Sam, take some of your home comforts with you.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen my dressing room station.
Come on, share with the viewers what you bring.
Well, number one, a perfume that reminds me of makes me feel good. At each venue, I have a show perfume that I use. It's the only one I use in the dressing room, because it's the same one I've used for years. So it kind of just makes me feel like, okay, settled, ready. But also things like your favourite pyjamas.
Yes.
Or your favourite dressing gown. Something that just makes you feel comfortable and reminds you of home. I think that's photos as well for me, Sam. I take my photos everywhere, and I think things like that are good because when you're just feeling a little bit lost, you have a little look and you go, okay, I'm okay.
I'm okay. I'm doing all right. Oh, Harveen. And a final question, what are you most looking forward to?
Oh, what am I most
This
looking
is the tour
forward
we
to?
have together.
Do you know, just more fun times. We've had so much fun already. We've had challenges because we're doing a show in COVID times. But I'm looking forward to Christmas parties. I'm looking forward to a whole year of new experiences. Also looking forward to doing all my other tracks as a swing. But I think more times together as a group, and also just being able to go to places that I haven't been to before, which will be really exciting. Can't wait.
Bring it on! Harvey, thank you so much for coming and chatting to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching, and here's to a happy holiday season, Christmas, New Year, Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. I hope you have a great one and look forward to seeing more of you next year. This has been Someone Else's Story. My name is Sam Horton. Thank you. Good night.